I'm going to get us started, and hopefully the others are jumping over from one session to the next. But I want to start by introducing myself and kind of explaining a little bit about how this session is going to be run. So my name is Janice Gerhardt, and I'm the admissions specialist at Eagle Ridge Academy. Unlike the previous session, if you were part of that, I have some time at the end of this one. We don't need to rush into another session. So if there are specific questions or you want a little bit more detail about enrollment, let's keep those questions to the end. And I'd love to chat with you about enrollment more, the attendance piece. So this session is an opportunity to meet a couple of our parents that have students that attend Eagle Ridge Academy. And then I see IIO again. Thank you, IIO, for coming back and representing students. I have another student who's a senior this year that I'm expecting to be jumping on here too. So you can maybe hear the difference from two separate students that have different interests and things like that. So I'm just going to let you know who we're going to be speaking with. And then again, I will let them introduce themselves. So the first parent I have today is Karen Oglesby. Karen's a very active parent at Eagle Ridge Academy. She has children that are more on the younger side of students. And then we've got Jennifer Montville, who has high school students. And Jennifer, I don't know if you have any more than Ben or not here. IIO, who you may or may not have already met, who's an 11th grader. And then Shay Koulis, I don't see her yet, but as she comes on, we'll have her introduce herself as well. So we didn't pre-submit questions for the parents. So let's just try to do this in a conversation way. I don't know if there's a way to raise your hand on Zoom. I'm not too savvy with this, although praise God for technology working tonight. When you need it, we got it. So that's an awesome thing. So I'm going to start off with Karen. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Karen Oglesby, and I have 3 daughters at Eagle Ridge, all in grammar school. I have twins who are in 2nd grade and one older daughter who's in 5th grade. And we started at Eagle Ridge when it was in a different building, and then came along with the move and the expansion. And it's been a really great experience for us at Eagle Ridge with excellent teachers all the way through. And we're loving the new facility, even though we're not there right now. We're doing full-time distance learning at the moment, but we really do enjoy the space and all that it has to offer. So I'd welcome any questions you have about our specific experience. I know that choosing a school for your kids is a really big deal, and it can be kind of stressful and challenging, but I'd love to be a parent with you at Eagle Ridge if that's how you end up deciding. So nice to sort of meet you. Look forward to hearing any questions you have.
There we go. Jennifer, do you want to jump in now?
Sure, sounds good. My name is Jennifer Montville. I've got a son in 9th grade at Eagle Ridge, and he has been there since he started school in kindergarten. So we're in our 10th year with the school. He is active in cross country and track, and has participated in some other clubs along the way. So there's been lots of good opportunities to get involved and do things. And we have really enjoyed being at the school. We really like the sense of community and how well the kids know each other, how well the staff knows Ben, our son, and just the overall atmosphere. And one of the things that's different here, I think, than other places is how the kids, kindergarten through 12th grade, have opportunities to intermix. That's one of the things we've really liked. So looking forward to answering any questions we might be able to help with.
Ayayo, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Hi, I'm Ayayo. I'm a junior at Eagle Ridge. This is now my 11th year since 1st grade. I also have a brother currently in 5th grade, so I'm not too out of it on how the School of Grammar functions. I've done sports, student government, drama, other extracurriculars at Eagle Ridge. I'm also in AP classes and other things like that, and have taken tests with Eagle Ridge. So if you guys want to know about that or have any questions, I am here to answer them.
I'm not good with this. I don't see Shay yet, but Missy Madigan is here. Missy, just please do a quick overview for, in case there is anybody that wasn't on the previous session, just so they know who you are and if they have any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Missy Madigan. I am actually on staff at Eagle Ridge. I am the K-12 instructional coach and classical coordinator. Been with Eagle Ridge for 12 years. I do have 2 students who attend Eagle Ridge. Colin is in 4th grade and Easton is in 2nd grade. So happy to respond to any of those questions that you have from the parent hat that I wear as well. It's usually that first person who takes the courage to unmute and ask the question or throw it in the chat. That'll get us started. I'll throw one out there. IIO, oh, here we go.
Hi, I wanted to ask anybody's experience. This is Naveen. I have enrolled my daughter Naomi for kindergarten this year, waiting for the enrollment date. And I have her brother going to be 3 years old soon. What are your experience with siblings in the same Eagle Ridge Academy versus one, different schools? Have you seen that as a positive thing? Has it been some pros and cons of those? Do you have any ideas?
Do you mean if one child was enrolled and the other one hasn't been able to get in yet? I'm not sure we understand the question.
What I mean is, is it always been, do you see more of like siblings in the same, in Eagle Ridge Academy, or do you see them more as a practice of not in one in public school and one in Eagle Ridge?
From my experience in enrollment, parents for convenience, they want, if I'm understanding you correctly, they prefer that they be in the same school. Although there are also times when certain learning styles or environments work better for one than they maybe do another. Sometimes there might be a high school student at a different school, but a parent decides to start early on with the younger ones. Other than that, anybody else have anything to say about that?
I think we know a lot of families, this is Jennifer, we know a lot of families who all the kids are at the school, but there are also several friends that Ben has where they have siblings who have gone to another school, and the reasons vary. I mean, it's never the same. It could be something sports related. It could be, like Janice said, some kind of a specialized program of another kind. But I would say the majority of the families we know are all there, but there are several we know that have split between schools.
Okay, thank you.
I see there's a couple questions in the chat. Karen, maybe you want to answer the one that says, do elementary kids have 2 hours of homework per night?
This is a popular question. My 5th grader is doing homework right now. So in the handbook that all families are provided at the beginning of the school year, and you could request that even in advance, I'm sure, there are expectations set for the amount of time homework is supposed to take at a given grade level. So in the School of Grammar, I believe it's 10 minutes per grade level. Is that right? Okay. So 10 minutes per grade level. That does not include reading time. So typically, as a student gets older, they have a greater expectation for the amount of time they would be reading. In kindergarten, they have like 10 minutes of homework and then an additional maybe 15 minutes of reading. Of course, they're encouraged to read more, but our experience has been that for our kids, homework typically takes longer than that, just to be honest about it. However, there has been more communication, I think, to parents recently that has given parents the freedom to really engage in conversations with teachers about how realistic the time of homework is. So like, if my child takes 50 minutes to do homework that might take another child 20 minutes, if we're communicating with the teacher can set reasonable expectations for students, and the teacher then can know how long things are actually taking. So I think that's something we've really valued, is open communication with all of our kids' teachers throughout all of the grade levels, really. There's some really excellent staff at Eagle Ridge, and we have sometimes had to advocate for our kids if it's taking a long time, or understand from the teachers about how we can help our kid to work faster. I have a family of perfectionists, so sometimes that input is helpful. I don't know if that answers some of those questions, but I know Eagle Ridge does have a reputation of having a lot of homework, but we have never found that teachers are unreasonable when we engage in conversations about how long that's taking us realistically at home.
Eagle Ridge also has Excellence Club. If your student is struggling, then they can get help after school from staff as well. So if it's, especially for elementary school students, if they are struggling, they won't just be stranded. There's programs to help them out with that as well.
I said there's another question there about the homework load for middle schooler. And I would say, it varies a lot. It kind of depends on the day of the week of the month, but anywhere from maybe an hour on average, but it's not always the same, because there are times during the school day too, where students have time to actually work on some of the stuff that gets assigned. So there were lots of days where Ben wouldn't have any homework, and then maybe there's a special project or something going on and he might spend a couple of hours. But I would not say that in our experience, I don't think that the amount of homework at Eagle Ridge is any different than you would find at another school. I think the students maybe tend to take it a little more seriously. And like Karen said, her kids are putting a lot into it. But I think I've always found it to be very reasonable.
I just want to jump in quick. I see Shay has joined us. So Shay, can you unmute and just introduce yourself briefly and maybe talk about some of the activities and things that you are involved in?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Shay. I'm a senior at Eagle Ridge Academy, and I've been involved in a lot of things. I'm the NHS president. I'm doing a lot of drama, theater, student government. I've been in the newspaper as a writer and editor. And let me think, taking a lot of AP courses too. So if you have any questions about that, I know some stuff about that. I can answer questions. And I've been here since second grade. So this will be my 11th year, I think, here. And I've loved every minute of it.
Janice, there's a question there that asks about the bus stops listed, and are those the only bus stops available? Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, first of all, we have what we call a hub system. So because we service families from not only one district, we have kids coming I think we've got kids way west, but our bus stops go as far west as Chaska. They go as far north as like Brooklyn Park or something like that. And then east to Richfield, Bloomington, I don't know, Edina. I don't know if there's maybe a South Minneapolis, I don't remember, and then down to Savage. So because of that, we aren't able to, meet families at their door. So what the bus company does is we give them information in the spring of the families that have enrolled and their demographic information, and then they plot it all out for us. So they are centralized locations, and oftentimes families do have to drive maybe a couple of miles to get to the stop. If that question came from a family that lives in Plymouth, that is one area that we just don't, there's not a lot of our students that are from that area. So they have to look at justifying to pick up how many students they're going to be able to do that. But the bus company is the one that does that for us. So I will put in the chat, I will put the password to the routes. The routes don't change much year to year. So the routes that are there now will pretty much be the same. They sometimes eliminate ones that aren't used. And this year again is kind of different because of distance learning. So I don't know, the routes will primarily stay pretty much the same. If families have valid reasons, be due to safety or something else, they will listen to the situation and determine whether it's a feasible reason to add another stop or make a change to a stop. But just because my child unfortunately wants to come to Eagle Ridge and there's not a stop within 5, 6, 7 miles from us, we just can't do that for those reasons. We also look at safety when some people think, well, the bus goes right by my house. A lot of it has to do with safety, and it's also keeping the routes to less than an hour. And an hour is a long time for a little one to be on the bus. So most parents, if they see it's an hour, they're not happy with that. But we're just fortunate that we're able to provide transportation, but it's not like if you lived in or if you attended school in your specific district. So I'm going to put the password to the routes because they're password protected on our website. You just go to the Eagle Ridge website and under current families, you'll find transportation. And then, oh, good, thank you, Karen. Karen put the link on there. I will put the password on the chat to everyone, but that's kind of how transportation works at Eagle Ridge.
Somebody want to take the middle school activities question? I think that's the next one on the list, if we're going in order. What is the typical workload for the middle school? How are parents involved in the middle school? Those are a couple specific middle school questions.
Well, Ben was in middle school. I mean, it's kind of what you would expect at any school. There's opportunities to volunteer and help out. There are, in terms of helping with homework and things as kids have questions. Nothing unusual, but lots of opportunities to get involved and volunteer if that's what you're interested in doing. I'm not sure if there was something a little bit more specific about how the parents are involved there that you wanted to know.
My perception of middle school is that there's kind of an increased independence for a student as they've been encouraged to learn to advocate for themselves throughout the grammar school. But there are opportunities for parent involvement in volunteering, helping to plan events, guiding students as they get more independent in trying to plan social activities and things like that. So we do have parent advocates for grades 6 through 8. That's kind of like a classroom parent is in the grammar school. So they work alongside teachers and students to just help make it a stronger community, really, in the school of logic. Middle school, that's what we call our middle school. So that there are a lot of opportunities for parents, and we also encourage parents to speak up if they see a need that they'd be interested in filling. So we'll never decline parent involvement, and I've had a chance to be active in some pretty fun ways and build great relationships with other families and parents through that.
Looks like the next question looks like it's about kindergarten. Other than curriculum, what are the other activities at a kindergarten level for overall development?
I can take that. I guess maybe a question clarification if I don't quite get it right. So if we're thinking of curriculum as reading, writing, and arithmetic, then there are lots of other options available. But because Eagle Ridge is a classical school, built into the curriculum are tons of things that focus on the whole child. And a big part of a classical education is having a well-rounded education. So I would say many of those things are built into curriculum. There are also opportunities for social and emotional learning, which is kind of outside of the typical academic focus. But built into the curriculum, we have at the grammar school level, so in kindergarten, there's music, there's physical education, there's art, and there's Latin. And so we have really valued the quantity of really enriching specialist classes that exist. And the teachers of those classes are excellent. We are really grateful for that. And so we feel like that's helping our children develop. And then even within the classroom, there are so many things that teachers do and are trained in specifically to help instruct in a classical way. So you'll hear in the lower school, you'll hear a lot of chants and songs and things that help students to remember a lot of the things that are being taught in the curriculum. So if I haven't answered that question and you're targeting something a little bit different, please indicate that, but that's our experience.
I'm sorry, I also wanted to quickly correct myself. I answered a question in the chat. That is for when we were in-person school. Right now, since there's a pandemic, for distance learning, the younger kids, at least my brother, he's a 5th grader, he usually ends at around 1-ish. So if we were in regular school, it would go till 3:10, but I know some elementary students, maybe with special situations or because of the coronavirus, it's changed so that they're not staring at a screen for 7 hours. So I just wanted to clarify, your 10-year-old will not be at his computer for forever. So.
No. And the expectation is that the instruction does last for the same amount of time for students who are physically in school or distance learning. So though you might be done with synchronous learning time at 1 o'clock, there are other activities that a student is doing for the rest of that time. And for each grade level, it's different how that synchronous and asynchronous time is split up. So we, with our 3 girls, we have different schedules for them, but they do a good job of giving screen breaks for younger kids, especially.
Shay, since you are a senior and we're halfway through the school year, can you talk a little bit about just, I don't think you did when you into your introduction, but just about how Eagle Ridge Academy you feel has prepared you, kind of what you're looking at, your interests, how, yeah, some of that stuff.
Very good question. I think it's definitely prepared me to think critically. I think that one's a very relevant one right now. This whole year has been one where we've really had to think critically. And so I'm able to kind of logic or to think about things as they come to me and be able to discuss with other people. That's a really big thing at ERA and all the classes that I've taken is they don't just tell you what to think, they tell you how to think and let you really develop arguments and figure out what you actually believe in. And so I really enjoy that. The rigor has definitely been really good for me. I know that going into college, I will be really prepared. Just hearing people that have graduated before me, they've said that where college has just been either easy or been kind of the same amount for them, while there's been other people at other schools that have been really struggling with that transition. So it's Eagle Ridge is a college preparatory school. So it makes sense that college I'll be prepared for that. And I think just the size of it is really good. I've been able to have a really good community, especially now going into classes. I know that the people in my class, I know I'm not getting to just see people for the first time at the beginning of the year on the screen. I know these people that I'm interacting with on screen, and it makes class a little bit more enjoyable just because of that aspect. So, yeah.
So what are you looking to do? Where are you at in your search and your plans?
So I have applied to 4 colleges, and I got accepted to all 4 of them a couple months ago. So now I'm just trying to figure out my last decision and working through all the financial parts of that, because I know that's a really big thing. Side note with that, something that my family learned is that you can negotiate with college. This doesn't have to do with Eagle Ridge, I'm sorry, but I think this is really helpful with the college search, where we did this with my brother when he wanted to go to college and they said, this is the price that you want. We were able to kind of work with it down. And so just that to keep in mind, side note, sorry. But with my plan, I'm wanting to go to college and then major in elementary education so I can become a teacher, and then also wanting to do something with professional writing because I love to write. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now.
Oh, good for you. Where are you at, IIO? You're a junior, but where are you at with all this?
Yes. Oh my goodness, college. Well, early admissions deadlines are usually the beginning of senior year, but I've taken the SAT once, and then the Eagle Ridge has offered the PSAT, which I've taken twice. So that's been really nice. And yeah, and then next year I might be doing tours. I've done some virtual tours over the past few months, but that's not really similar to the application process. But yeah, that's been good. I saw a question in the chat about AP classes and credits transferring. This is kind of a universal thing, not just for Eagle Ridge, but when you take an AP class, after you take it, you take an AP test, and it's on a scale of 5. And so usually, depending on the college, if you get a 3, 4, or 5, usually the credit will cancel. The credit will transfer to that college. And depending on, if it's a really good school, maybe they only accept 4s or 5s. But usually I've noticed, and Shay, you can talk about this too, but the AP teachers that we've had, because we've taken some together, have really prepared us. And so it really should not be an issue to get college credit at Eagle Ridge from AP classes.
Yes, and to tag along with that question, how do the students get into AP classes? Really anyone, you just kind of register or sign up for them, but they do have some prerequisites. For example, I'm taking AP Calc this year. That requires you to take pre-calc before, which I did sophomore year. And same with AP Bio. I'm taking that this year. Sophomore year, you're also required to take biology. So you have these classes ahead, and so you're kind of prepared for that AP class. And it's just a more advanced class. You learn a little bit more, and they're a little bit more fun, I think. So you just register for those. And for transferring credits, if you're talking about from one high school to another, I think you should be able to get into the classes in here. If you've taken biology before, you should be able to get into AP Bio at Eagle Ridge, and they should transfer from high school to college. You just have to look at the college, because some colleges are a little bit more specific about what they want.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Shay,
another
talk a
question
little bit
in the
about
chat.
the theater.
That goes with one of the other questions in the chat there. It's got the additional projects or activities.
Yeah.
Shay, you can talk about theater, but even beyond that, there's art expos, music events,
Oh yeah.
community building events. There's all kinds of different clubs, sports opportunities, even like for the younger kids as well as the middle and high schoolers. Middle school has a science fair that they do. There are talent shows. And then Shay and IIO, I know I've seen both of you in the theater, so I'll let you two talk about that.
Yeah, theater is fantastic. I've loved every minute. I have all the fun memories with it. And it's really fun. I think this past year, we've opened it up to elementary school now. And so last year I was given the privilege of being the assistant director for the K through 5th grade show of Alice in Wonderland. And so that's really fun. We have theater for elementary school now. We have them for middle school, for high school. And we've also been doing now some one-act competitions. And so we've been able to compete with other high schools. That is a growing program that we're doing now. So that's really exciting too. As for other activities, like we've already said before, there's so much to do here. And if you still find something that you're missing, I want to do this or that, we're totally open to starting new clubs. We have this story that kind of goes along with 2 juniors who came to Eagle Ridge, and they said, Mutu and Eric are their names. They said, we don't have a newspaper at Eagle Ridge. And they went to administration and they started up a newspaper club. And now we have the newspaper that we have Eagle Ridge, and we've gotten a lot of good reviews from that too. So if there isn't something for you, you can definitely start one.
Mhm.
It was a good example too, like Shay said, she was assistant director for the younger kids play. So the school provides a lot of really cool opportunities like that for Shay to get experience, for the older kids to get experience leading with the younger kids. And then if you think about the example that sets for the younger kids, for the grammar school kids, it's really kind of a cool thing for them to see. They have these kids that they can kind of look up to and aspire to be like. And that's one of the bits of community that you get at a school like this, where it's K through 12, that you won't get in the public school system because it's just too big and too divided. And here they're all together and they interact in those ways, which is, I think, a very cool element of Eagle Ridge.
Yeah, it's a really nice part about our school size too, because you would think it's such a small school we wouldn't have options, but there's so many things that these kids can do. And my brother was in that play in Alice in Wonderland, the little kids one, and he loved it so much. And just with Eagle Ridge being a smaller school as well, he already knew everyone, and so it just was so comfortable for him to be able to do. And there's, I mean, you can go to the website. I think it's in Current Families. You guys can check me on that. But there's just so many: chess club, math club, and as Shay said, you know, if you have one that you don't want, then you can try and start one. Even sports is something that I really enjoy watching. Our school sports, our basketball team, our volleyball team, which obviously, you know, this year we have a virus, but that's also a really nice part of Eagle Ridge, that there's just so many options of things to do with people that you're actually close to. Like Shay said, your class feels like people that you really know. You know, I've known Shay for 11 years or however long. So it works very well together, the extracurricular activities that we have, in my opinion.
And the teachers too. We know the teachers really well, and a lot of them are actually, they are mentors, or I can't remember the word, but they head some of the clubs with us. And so we have an advisor, that's what it's called. A lot of the teachers are advisors for these different clubs. And so you get to see your teacher not only in school, but also out of school in these extracurriculars. And so that's just another way to get to know them and for them to get to know you, and just kind of build more community together.
There's a question in the chat about kids transferring in or out, either completing grammar school and then transferring to a middle or high school, or the other way around. I know there are kids that transfer in and out all along the way. I think we saw a little bit more of that in the kind of transition from 7th to 8th grade and 8th to 9th grade from a family perspective. But Janice, maybe you could speak a little bit more to where you see kids coming in and out most.
Yes. Well, there are kind of the transition years between 5th and 6th, although it's interesting because we draw the largest number of our students from the Eden Prairie District, which is kind of where we first started out. They have their 6th grade in their elementary schools. And so I'm kind of curious to see what that's going to look like this year, because we've seen that transition between 6th and 7th, whereas some people, and it's not a lot because you can see we don't have that many openings between grades, but they'll finish up elementary school and kind of some of them will be like, you know, I feel I have a firm foundation. It's more convenient. I need the bus for whatever reason. They will move on to their local schools. This year, though, I'm wondering, since they are taking that out and the transition might be between 5th and 6th, which means we might have more openings in 6th grade this year than we typically do. But, you know, sometimes it's just, Eagle Ridge is a classical school. You know, we're looking at a liberal arts type of an education, which, you know, we absolutely love, and there's nothing any better. But families have ideas of what they're looking for, and it's a rigorous school. And I'm not saying any of this to scare anyone away, because there's a lot of support in our school. There's a lot of support by other students, by the administration, by teachers. But sometimes you have to seek that. But especially when you get into some of the middle school and high school, it's like a lot of things, you get out what you put into it. And there is a lot of work that goes into it. And with that support, I feel anyone can succeed, but students need to be motivated at that level, because it's difficult for parents at that time to kind of tell the kids what to do. You know, they're gonna do what they want to do. So sometimes it's just a matter of determining later on, this isn't the right school for that student. Sometimes it's other activities. If somebody wants Japanese or another language, which we're talking about potentially maybe having that, but sometimes it's another language, or sometimes people feel really strongly about the STEM and they want their children to go into, you know, they want not marketing, what am I trying to think of? They want the STEM, or they want them to be able to go into a field where they're going to need more technology, and maybe they feel we don't cover that, or
Engineering.
Engineering, thank you. Not marketing, engineering, yes. But if you were a part of the session with the principals, we have many students that leave and go into various engineering fields, and they are more than prepared with the math and the science and the logic and just the whole idea of thinking and learning to think and being creative is technically what people like that are looking for anyway. They're not necessarily looking for math and science, and we have a plethora of math and science options as well. But there's a lot of reasons why families come and go. Sometimes, again, it's just location. You know, I have people in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and they try it because they want to be there, and then they realize it's not working. The transportation is too difficult, and they're not getting their kids to school. The kids are missing school, and then they're not doing well. We don't have football. You know, we don't have lacrosse as much as we'd like to. We're growing that department, and we have hired an athletics director in the last couple of years. Whether we'll ever have football, I don't know. Can we co-op with another school? Maybe. But sometimes, you know, that is a determination of why families come and go. So, but we've typically always got wait lists and people anxious to get in when there is an opening. That's a lot to say for that little question, but it's Eagle Ride 2020 is the password for the transportation.
There's a question in the chat about teacher diversity. I don't know, Missy, are you still on, or Janice, is that one that you would want to field?
I don't see Missy. Is Missy there? Okay. Teacher diversity, great question. If you've ever been to our school, you will see that student-wise and family-wise, we're a very diverse school, and we absolutely love that. Our students learn about a lot of other cultures, religions, just traditions and things like that from one another. Everybody has a place, you know, we might come from different places, but inside our heart and soul is the same. And so we really love that. As far as the educators, the teachers themselves, believe it or not, we don't get a lot of applicants. And I've heard this conversation before in meetings and things like that. And, you know, we have a couple of, well, do we have any male teachers in the younger school nowadays? Oh, we have a couple of male teachers. Yep. I'm trying to think of the teachers that we do have as far as diverse. There's a math teacher, I believe. I can't remember what her culture is and where she's at, but we welcome that. It's just that we do not get a lot of applicants. Not sure why, but yeah. I don't know how good I answered that question, but we pride ourselves on diversity, that's for sure.
I would say in our support staff, we have more applicants who represent
Absolutely.
ethnically diverse backgrounds.
Good, Karen. Yep.
You know, there's a lot of kinds of diversity, but if we're talking about ethnic diversity here, I would say that there are a decent number of support staff, at least in the School of Grammar, and
Yep.
they are really working more closely in many ways
Yep.
with certain students, and it's been kind of fun to see how some students really bond with those support staff members.
We have what we call educational assistants. And I've kind of been away from that for a while, so I don't know how they're dispersed and how each grade level are assigned educational assistants for just help in the classroom, and how they use it, I'm not quite sure. But so there's a lot of staff that we have that are educational assistants. It used to be that kindergarten had a full-time educational assistant in their classroom the entire day. Last I heard, when we're in normal situations outside of the pandemic, it's about 75 to 80% of the day that there is an additional adult in the classroom. Many of them have teaching license. It's not required, but a lot of them do. And that's to a lot of where Karen's talking about with diversity. And then there's paras that work with students that have that need. So yeah. What time are we getting to be? It's 7 o'clock. I have time if there are any last questions that people want to talk about. Thank you, Karen and Jennifer and Shay and IIO. I really appreciate, and Shay, it makes me cry looking at you thinking that you're going to be leaving us. Oh my goodness. So yeah, anyway, feel free to leave if you need to, but I can stay on for a little bit here if anybody has any last questions. Can you explain, I saw something, oh, how long is the wait list on a typical? Okay, yep, I can certainly go into some of that stuff. How can you explain the lottery acceptance process for first grade? Yeah, I can spend a little bit of time with that, but anybody that's not interested and feels they understand that, feel free to leave and enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, thank you. I'm available, email, phone call, email's the best. I'd love to chat with you and talk more specific if you have. Sometimes parents have specific needs with specific students. If it happens to be a special education situation, I can help put you in contact with the department that would answer your questions. I would want to rely on them. I know enough, but not enough to, I might get myself in trouble and promise things or say things I don't know. But anyway, have a good evening and enjoy the weekend after tomorrow's over, and we'll talk about enrollment right now.
I can stick around and try to field some questions at chat as well as you continue.
Fabulous. Okay. So how long is the wait list in a typical year for kindergarten? That's really interesting. Right now, the last time I checked was earlier in the week. We were at about 225 applications. Typically at a year like this, we're at 325. I think we've been talking about that, and it always is, and it will continue to grow even after the lottery. People apply, they just unfortunately miss the lottery. So when they do apply after the 15th, they go in at the bottom of the list. So if after the lottery we've got a wait list of 200 students, and then they apply on January 16th, they have to be 201. So so that list is going to grow, but typically at this time of year, we've got more than what we have. I think a lot of people are in survival mode, to be honest. I think they're working hard with their students that are at home. They're trying to work themselves. They're trying to just manage all of this. So more and more come every day. So I don't know where we will end up, but we have 138 kindergarten spots to fill each year. In the past, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years, about 45, I'd guess. But I'm going to use the number 38 as an example, just because I can subtract that easier. Our students that are either students of faculty that employees that work at Eagle Ridge, or they have siblings that currently attend. So those kids fill out an application, but when February 1st comes, I'm going to just send them an enrollment offer. So they are guaranteed to get a spot. And then, so using that 38 number, so we have 138 spots to fill. Those 38 are going to be offered right away. And then after the lottery has been drawn, I take the first 100 off of that wait list and offer those guys spots for kindergarten. So then the person that was 101 will move up and now they'll be number 1. And so I just keep taking off the top until kindergarten is full, which will probably be by about the end of February, sometime in March. I will have my 138 kindergartners. But then what happens is in April and May and June and July, I become notified that, oh, we've changed our mind. We're going to wait a year. We're not going to send them this year, or we're moving out of state or whatever. So that wait list continues to I just keep taking people off the top and it just kind of keeps moving up. Plus people apply to multiple schools because they're either maybe open enrolling to another public district, or there's other charter schools that they might be also doing the lottery with them, and they happen to get into one school, and then I call them and they're not interested anymore. So there's a lot of that goes on. So if after the lottery, I contact you and let you know that you've got waitlist number 70, that sounds like a lot, and I can't 100% guarantee that you would get in by the time school starts, but your number is going to shrink quite a bit between that time and when school starts. Again, with the pandemic, I don't know what things are going to look like. So that's kind of kindergarten. And then first grade, we have all of our kindergartners that are currently in kindergarten this year that will come back to first grade. Like I said earlier, parents don't let us know in January that they're leaving, that they don't want to return, because if they give up their spot, then they're not going to get back in. So on February 1st, you'll get an email that says your child is waitlist number, let's say 30. There's probably going to be 100 on the wait list in first grade at that time. And then we just wait. And this is the same for first, whether you're trying to get into first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, not so much seventh. Sixth grade, there's a wait list, but there might be only 50 on a wait list as opposed to 100 or 150 or 85 or whatever on some of those other grades. The higher the grade, the wait list numbers drop a little bit. And then typically we have enough spots for all of our 8th graders that apply as well. So in the past few years, all of the 8, and I don't have a 7th grade wait list right now. So if any of you have a 7th grader or an 8th grader next year and you want to get in 7th grade this year, talk to me about that too, because that's definitely an option. Or if you have a 9th grader and you want to start in 8th grade, I think there's some advantages to getting in for a semester and just kind of getting your feet underneath you to be prepared. And it just makes that start of the transition into high school a little bit easier. So if there's anybody that wants to talk about that, contact me and I'd love to chat with you about that too. So from what I've, more information on School of Logic, statistics, and colleges kids go into. Karen, do you remember kind of the statistics that Erin gave for the parent or the principal session when we're looking at the statistics of colleges? I think she said 45% of our graduates last year went to a 2-year school. I don't remember what the percentage was, maybe 30% or 35% went to a 2-year school. Certain percentage went to military. I can't remember the exact numbers, but of the 45, a large percentage of those went out of state, I know she said. And we're continuously getting students back. And IIO, you may, and Shay, you may know friends that have graduated already that come back and have talked about how prepared they were leaving Eagle Ridge Academy. A lot of them will say that freshman composition class is a breeze. You know, their roommates will spend the every day in the evening or wherever in the library getting tutoring help, and you know they know how to write so they can get their assignment done and be done and enjoy their evening. So if that was kind of what that question was about, more information on School of Logic students and college kids.
Oh, no, I
go
just
on.
posted that link there, Janice, because somebody asked about the average ACT.
Perfect. Yep.
The average ACT score is 26, and then that link will take them to more of related statistics.
Your parents are awesome. Thank you. I don't even know how to go and get a link right now and be on here. So
I
appreciate
also
that.
posted for some of the questions that have been asked, a little screenshot from the annual report. So there's something there about rates of students doing AP. There's another one on there that lists the 2020 wait list as of August. And then another one that I don't remember. Oh, diversity among our students.
Can you just put the link to the whole?
Yep, I'll add that too.
Because there's a lot of really good information. There's financial things. There's just teacher retention. There's a lot of good information in the annual report. So a lot of times when I'm working with new families, I encourage them. The other thing I encourage families to do is go to the Eagle Ridge family and find our teachers' website, because that as well can help you to look at if they have a syllabus there, or maybe a calendar, or just meeting the teachers. And there's just more information about, I know 6th grade does a great job. They have a lot of tutorials and little videos that they make themselves to help those kids know how to check their grades on Infinite Campus, or how to, or how can a parent go about, getting help for their students, or different things like that. So I think there's a lot to be found in teacher websites as well. And that's on the website under About Us. And then you'll see, I think it says staff and faculty, or staff. I don't remember exactly what it says, but another good resource to learn more. And Karen, can you speak a little bit to what we do to welcome new students, like throughout the summer, our group events that we try to have to, because there's a lot of questions I get about that.
Yeah, so community building is really a priority to me. I think, especially as our school expanded, I had a desire to have a small feel in a larger school. And so in cooperation with other parents, we tried to organize social events, some of those more formal and others that are maybe just by grade level or something like that. So one way people like to connect is through our Facebook groups. We have a Facebook group for each grade level, and then one for K-12, and a lot of informal things happen there. But also through the summer, there are other events. So the School of Logic has a get together where kids just come, and there's some organized things and some unstructured things where you can get to know other students. And typically there are a number of new students who come to those every year. There are several new students in the School of Logic, and it's great to get them paired up with somebody who can answer the many questions that come with coming to a new school and a new grade level at the same time. We also have a lot of things for School of Grammar families. We typically have a summer gathering right before school starts, normally about a week after we find out teacher assignments is when we try to schedule it so that we can get into groups and students can get to know other people in their classes. But just like even in the winter, we do sledding gatherings, or maybe even parent coffee times, or drop your kid off at school and stop in for a donut, things like that. So there's lots of things that are going on at Eagle Ridge, and then a number of ways to connect. But we encourage people to actually do that, because it can be overwhelming with all the things going on to just decide not to. But it really makes it a lot easier and more efficient to assimilate and come into the school if there are relationships in place. So lots of parents are more than happy to kind of walk alongside new families and mentor them, or answer questions, just be a friend. So do reach out if that's a desire you have, and try to join some of the activities that are occurring. Hopefully more of them will be occurring as we move through this crazy season.
The Facebook groups that you put together for the grade levels, I think parents really appreciate those as well, to be able to throw a question out there, or maybe even learn something that you didn't even know you had that question, but just gain information or whatever.
Yep. And when school gets started, a lot of times parents like to ask, hey, my son forgot his homework at school. Could somebody take a picture of it for us? And so parents do a good job of working together to try to solve some of those problems at the lower grade levels. And there's another one where uniforms can be a big concern for people because they're expensive. And sometimes that can be overwhelming, but we have used uniform sales where things are sold for a fraction of the price. And then there is also a Facebook group that's sort of a buy and sell exchange for not just uniforms, but other school materials like books that people would prefer to have at home, or nap mats for kindergarten, lots of things like that. So there are many ways to do uniforms more affordably. And that's almost exclusively what my family does, is buy used uniforms and then we sell them back. And it really doesn't cost us much at all to have 3 kids in uniforms, because we do it through that good sale and system, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's not just the sale, it's a lot of other things that are going on to help parents make those exchanges.
And will there be one of those in summer before school starts?
That's the hope, unless we have some kind of a crazy lockdown for some reason, but we're hoping to have one most likely in early August would be my guess. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have a lot of safety protocols in place. So if people are interested in coming out, our aim is that they'd feel safe doing so.
And unfortunately, we cannot do tours of the building at this time. I hope you, if you haven't yet, I hope you're able to click on the link where, I'm not sure where you found the link to get onto this, because if you go to the Eagle Ridge website under Future Families and then under the Enrollment Extravaganza event, this is being recorded, by the way. So if you want to listen to it again, or if you know somebody that wasn't able to attend, you can let them know that that's there. But anyway, 2 of our students, they went through and did a virtual tour, and they did a really nice job with that. So unfortunately, that's the best we can do right now, but we're at least glad we were able to give you something to, the building's beautiful. We have a library. The younger kids, do they go, Karen, like once a week on a normal year to meet with the librarian and check out books and things?
I think it depends on the
It's
grade
not a
level.
media
It's
center
either,
like some. Okay.
yeah, once a week or once every 2 weeks. It depends. And then there's an option for them to go during their lunchtime in the older, like 4th, 5th grade.
And I think middle and high school can do that too. I think they can pretty much probably go when they need to. It's not a media center, so there's not computers there. We have a couple of computer labs in our building. Ayayo and Shay, do you use the computer labs much?
I haven't, just because high school's upstairs and the computer labs are very far away, but we use them occasionally for exams if they're standardized on tests like MCA or something like that. Then we might go in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes they bring the computers into the classroom as well for us to use, but yeah, we don't use them super often.
Yeah. Well, that looks like all of the questions that we've had, unless there's any last ones. Oh, Jennifer, thank you. She just put the link to the virtual tour. Yeah, make sure you watch it. They did a really nice job, and we just kind of gave them, do it. You know, we kind of told them what we wanted. They did it, and we did very little editing. They're really good at that. So they put that together for us. And did you guys see that question there? I was reading it.
Yeah, I can kind of give some insight into that one.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there's definitely class camaraderie. First, I'll talk about between students and teachers. I think I briefly mentioned that before, but yes, I would definitely say that there is community there. I remember a time, I think it was last year, my sister was in volleyball, and so I was staying after school waiting for her to get done with practice, and I would be doing homework in the commons room or the commons area. And I remember teachers just constantly coming up to me and be like, oh, hey, Shay, how are you doing? What are you working on? Oh, if you need help, like, come to me. I'm always available. Or they would just ask me how my day is. And it was kind of funny because there were days I didn't get a lot of homework done, but that was because the teachers were talking with me and I was having a good conversation with them. We're talking about life, talking about what I'm learning in classes. We have humanities courses in the high school where you get to look at great books and discuss and work on those really big and deep questions that humanity has. And that often leaves people with a lot of thoughts in their head. So I get to talk with teachers about that, get their experience kind of voiced through my thoughts. And then that kind of transfers to the students as well. The teachers have a really good, they set a really good example to us. And then the students are also just kind of, we have this understanding among us all that we're going to treat each other with respect and integrity, all the pillars. And that helps just from the elementary school and up. You're learning how to do that, how to be a good citizen and how to treat each other with respect and how to work hard and persevere and honor others. And through all of that, we kind of just grew up with that. And then when you get to high school, when you go through those tough questions, you have that to fall back on, and you can have good dialogue that is respectful, and you can hear people from another perspective and understand that, and then work through it together to try to find truth.
Yeah.
I think there's good connections between classmates in the lower school as well. My kids long to be back in person so that they can connect with their many friends. Teachers, many of them have something they do called a morning meeting, or different things that help kids to connect with each other and get to know one another and appreciate one another. And I think that has been a really helpful way for my kids to connect in an academically rigorous environment, because much of the day is spent getting through material and there's not a ton of unstructured time. And so teachers have to be pretty intentional about that. And I like that because it's really well directed, and they do get to relax and just be, but teachers do a good job of coaching that and teaching kids how to interact and to show respect in listening and to give feedback. And so I think that helps kids to connect more deeply and intentionally.
Relationship is a big piece of classical education. It's a really big piece of classical education. So we talk a lot about relationships, and whether that be student to student, teacher to student, parent to whatever. I mean, relationship is, and we always talk too about, and we didn't hit on tonight very big about our pillars. I'm really surprised that they didn't hit that. I think time just went with that first session. And but a big piece of Eagle Ridge Academy are our academic pillars. And if you think of them as columns to a building, we have our acronym for that is CIPHER, and it stands for citizenship, integrity, perseverance, honor, excellence, and respect. I think I got them all. And as you walk through the building, you'll see them on posters, but they are way more than words plastered on a wall. And girls, parents, you can talk to that about how that's incorporated every day into your conversations in one way, shape, or form. In the younger grades, they have like pillars of the week or the month or whatever, and depending on what grade level they're on, how they try to help a kindergartner or first grader understand, what does citizenship mean? What does that look like? What type of behavior would I be having? Why is that important? And the same thing with all of the pillars. That's also used for behavior, I guess. I was going to say discipline. I don't like the discipline word, but for behavior, in always taking a situation kids, we all do. We make rash decisions sometimes, and the little ones sometimes don't know how to keep their hands to themselves. And, they might make a poor choice for a second, but a lot of times it's just pulling those kids back and aside and helping them to learn about which pillar did that not uphold, and helping them to learn how to make restitution for their behavior. So it's not about punishment as much as it is about a teaching moment and helping them to learn why that wasn't a good choice and what I could do next time to make that, to have that not happen. And that's proven to be really successful. And I mean, there's times when the principal has to get involved, but rarely, because most of the time the teachers have the tools in their classrooms to be able to just keep the kids focused on these pillars. And they look different. What does respect look like in a lunchroom as opposed to in another environment? Or integrity, perseverance is a huge one at Eagle Ridge Academy, with the rigor of the academics and the challenge that we put our kids up to, and learning what perseverance means, and how proud they feel once they learn the importance of it, and that, yeah, it might not be fun, or it might be boring, or whatever it is, but once they meet that goal, just the feeling that they have in learning in life young, that as they become adults and in college and beyond, the importance of, you're not always going to like every person you work with. You're not going to have things in common with every single person. But how do we learn to respect and get along and care for one another is a huge piece of Eagle Ridge. And again, I can't believe that wasn't touched on first and foremost, because that's typically what we do. So anything to add to that, anybody?
I think that also speaks to the community building piece as well, because we have a very diverse student population and different values even within different groups. And so to have really a common vocabulary helps to build unity. It's something that we can all gather around. And when we say cipher, we understand what that means. And as I think Jennifer shared in the chat, it's incorporated into curriculum. So kids have like real hands-on examples of what that maybe looks like in different contexts or in a given story. And so I think it really does help to build community, to have that be sort of a common vocabulary and establishing a common culture within our school that brings together so many different cultures.
Thank you for that. You're right. Well, I could talk all night, but I don't want to keep everybody else up all night. So if we're not seeing any more questions, there's only 12 of us left. Thank you for hanging in there. That really speaks a lot to your interest. And it's important that parents, especially at a school like Eagle Ridge, that parents take the time to kind of get to know who we are and what we're all about. Charter schools, private schools, they're schools of choice. And so parents can't necessarily always just jump in assuming it's going to be like your neighborhood school. So it all depends. And I think, Karen, you said that in the beginning, was that that's a big decision. I mean, when I sent my kids, I'm old, so when I sent my kids to kindergarten, they went to the local school, there weren't these options. But times have changed, and now that's a big deal. My son began at Eagle Ridge Academy. He's 27 now, soon to be 28. I can't believe it. And he started in 2004 as a 6th grader. That was the year the school was born. That's the year that the school started. So they started that year with 6th, 7th, and 9th grade. There was really no plan of having a K-5 program originally. This group of founding parents and community members saw this as a need for middle school, high school in this type of an environment, just something different that but as we went along in 2010, we started the K-5 program. We realized quickly that we kind of needed kids to be prepared for, not that you can't come in and have, in those later grades, but when everybody was coming in and not even knowing what a noun is, which we learn in what, 1st grade, girls? I mean, you know what I mean? They continue to learn that, but we really focus a lot on writing and the parts of speech and grammar and at those early years. And you know, kids were coming into 7th and 8th grade and you really can't progress. You have to help those kids. So anyway, it just worked out really well to start the K-5 or the K-5 program in 2010. Shay was in my very first class. I taught 2nd grade that year, and IIO was the 2nd year. So I got to spend time with both of these girls, and I tell you, they've been they're amazing. So I mean, I've been with the school for a very long time as a parent back in 2004, and then I taught 2nd grade for a couple of years before coming into this position. And I love working with families and parents and having these conversations. So that's why I say I could talk all night and keep you up all night. But school's grown a lot. It's changed a lot. We've experienced a lot. And I think we still work really hard to try to keep it personal and relational and, you know, the community feel. And hopefully you would feel that when you come into the building ever, when we can get you in. But anyway, so I'm going to end this now. You know where to find me. If you have any more questions specifically for the girls or the parents, let me know and I can put you in touch with them. Sometimes parents like to ask specific questions. If your child has specific needs of how are they going to fit in and things like that. But so thank you for your time, and enjoy Friday and the weekend. And we're all back. I've been working from home, but we're all back on Monday getting ready for the first group of K through 2, I think, right, Karen? They're coming back on the 19th, which is our first day of 2nd semester. And then we'll bring back 3 through 5 on February 1st. And currently at this time, 6 through 12, the way things are will remain distance learning. So anyway, a lot of work's being done, a lot of hard work's going into preparing for the kids. But I know when they had to leave this last time to go, when they were in hybrid, the ones that chose hybrid, and then they had to leave to go to distance learning, the tears they had that day. Little ones, I mean, everybody was so sad because school is about, it's about community, and there's as much development in a child's growth and nurturing socially as there is academically. They kind of definitely go hand in hand. So yeah, so I'm going to hit the leave button. I'll be the first to go. Thank you. And parents and students, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Couldn't do it without you. Bye.